So let's take a look at, start with number 2. You guys can go back to number 1. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form. So what is slope-intercept form? It's y equals mx plus b. So you want to write an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay? And the line passes through the given point and is parallel to the graph of the given equation. So key word here, parallel. What does that mean? What does parallel mean in this context? What are they? If a line is parallel, you know that it has same slope. I'm just going to put an M. Okay, so when they say that the line that you're going to come up with is parallel to the line that they give you, they're indirectly giving you slope. Okay? Maybe you want to even write that down. Indirectly giving you the M value. Indirectly, they're giving you the M value. That word parallel, that's what it means. Indirectly, they're giving you the M value. So, ladies and gentlemen, number 2, they want you to write an equation, and it's underlined up here in slope-intercept form. And in case you forgot, that's y equals mx plus b. But I'm not even going to worry about the form yet. What I'm going to just ask myself is, what do they give me? Well, they give me a point, an x1, y1. And they also give me indirectly the slope because they tell me that it's parallel to this guy. So what does parallel mean? That my equation is going to have the same m value as that equation. Is everybody understanding what I'm saying here? Okay, so they gave me a point and indirectly gave me a slope. So which of the 3 forms is the easiest to plug it into? Yes, point slope. Right? Okay. Why? Because they give you a point and indirectly they give you a slope. Why not point slope? Right? So in case you forgot, point slope is y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1 close parenthesis. That's point slope form. So let me plug in my values. I want to get y minus y1. What's y1? 5 equals, what's my m value? -4. And then I have x minus, what's my x1? -2. Now, the only thing I got from this equation right here, the only thing I care about is the m. Everything else is pointless. As a matter of fact, I'm never even going to look at this anymore. I don't even care about this equation anymore. I already got what I needed. I got my m value because it's parallel. I just plugged it into my point slope format, and now I have my equation in point slope form. But do they ask us to write it in point slope form? They ask us to write it in slope-intercept form up there. So they want us to write in y equals mx plus b, and we have it in point slope. We have parentheses up here. We have no parentheses. So let's get rid of those parentheses. Even before that, let's change the minus to a plus plus. And of course, we're going to get rid of those parentheses by distributing the minus sign. So when I distribute -4 times x, that's -4x. When I distribute -4 times 2, that is -8. Let me bring down the equal sign, bring down the y and the -5. And ladies and gentlemen, the only one other step I need to do to get y by itself is what? Add 5. So you're going to go plus 5 here, cancels, plus 5 over here. And your final answer is y equals -4x minus 3. This is your answer. That's your equation that passes through the point -2, 5. And it also has a slope of -4, which means that it's also parallel to the original equation they gave you up here, the original one. So if I were to graph this one and if I were to graph that one, they'd be going both in the same direction with the -4 slope. Okay, they would never cross each other. Does that make sense? Yeah. So in reality, we're not doing anything different. Yesterday, what were we doing? Oh, they gave you a point, they gave you a slope. The only difference was they gave you a point and they said m equals. Right here you got to understand what parallel means. Parallel means that they're giving you that same exact slope. Now, all of these will be done that way, but the other half of this homework assignment, if you look down here, different instructions, all right? First period, or the other class I had, a student was kept working. She totally understood all this that we did up here, but she didn't read these new instructions. She just kept doing the same thing, and then it became wrong. Because these instructions are a little different. It also says write an equation, and it also says in slope-intercept form, I'm going to underline it because that's what's important, y equals mx plus b. That's what I want it to look like. And you want to write in y equals mx plus b form, but it says of the line that passes through the given point, we already knew that, and is perpendicular. Okay, so this is the other different word. It's not parallel anymore, it's perpendicular. So what does this mean, perpendicular? Opposite reciprocal slope. So let's write that down. So perpendicular means opposite reciprocal slope. So once again, they're indirectly giving you the slope. You just got to think of the opposite and the reciprocal of the slope that you see in their given equation. Okay? So let's go do one of these guys. Pick one, anyone. Anyone you like. Anyone you like. You guys want to do 13? Why not? First one. Okay, so they give us a point, x, y, 1, 1, and indirectly they give us the slope. What is the slope that I'm going to have based off of this guy? My slope will be, you got to think opposite reciprocal. Exactly, positive 3. Okay, now when it said parallel, oh, your line is parallel to this guy. Oh, it's the same exact thing. But right here it says perpendicular to this guy, so it's going to be opposite reciprocal. You have to change the sign and flip the fraction. Okay, so the 1 over 3 becomes 3 over 1, so you just leave it like 3. Okay, so it becomes positive 3. Okay, so once again, what do I really have here? I have a point, x1, y1, and I have a slope, 3. I don't even care about this equation anymore. I can scratch it out if I want. I already got what I needed from it. It's perpendicular, which means negative reciprocal slope. I already have my slope. I'm good. So I have my slope, and I have my point, so I'm going to go with point-slope form. Of course, you don't have to write down the point-slope form every single time. If you already know it, just jump right into it, right? I'm just writing it down because for the video. Y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to take my y minus y1, it's going to be y minus, and what is my y1 value? Negative 2. Okay, equals m, what's my m value? 3. There you go, piece of cake. Parenthesis x minus what? Negative 2 again. Okay, so on both of these, the minus minus has to change to plus plus. And once again, going back to the instructions, we have an equation that's in point-slope form. If it would have said, write an equation in point-slope form, I would be done. But they don't. It says slope-intercept. So we still need to change this. Obviously, we don't want parentheses, and we don't want the y with the plus 2. You want the y by itself. So I'm going to get rid of the parentheses by distributing 3 times x and 3 times 2. So I'm going to have so far y plus 2 equals 3x plus 6. And for my final step, what am I going to do? Subtract 2 on both sides. So if I subtract 2, I'm running out of space here, I'm sorry. Let me just do this. And let me write, whoops, that's ugly. Really ugly, sorry. Let me write my final answer over here. Y equals 3x and what? 3x what? Plus 4. That's your final slope-intercept form equation. Where did I get the plus 4? The 6 take away 2 right here. That gives you a positive 4. You might need more space. As you can see, I'm zooming in and I still run out of space. So you might want to write it over in your notebooks. Is there any other one you'd like to see? Whether it's from the parallel ones up here or the perpendicular ones down here, it doesn't matter. Pick one. 24? All right. Ooh, 24 is a good one. Excellent choice. So they give us a x1, y1, and they tell us that our equation is going to be perpendicular to this equation right here, right? Yeah. Now, the problem is, this equation is in what form? It's in standard form. And standard form is ax plus by equals c. It doesn't even have the m inside the equation. Does that make sense? You need the m. That's the whole purpose, right? So because this is in standard form, that's not going to help you out at all. So what could I do with this guy before even starting on my equation? What could I do to this guy? Add 6y? Close. I would, okay, so you want m, right? You want your m from this guy. And the only way to get your m from this guy is if you could see the m. In other words, it's in standard form. It's in ax plus by equals c. There is no m right here. So what you need to do is change the form. Either get y by itself or change it to point slope. Slope-intercept is the easiest one to do. So let's get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5x and subtract 5x. I'm going to have a negative 6y equals negative 5x plus 9. Red's kind of hard to see up there. Let me change colors. I want to divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, and divide by negative 6. So this new equation that they gave us is really the equation y equals positive 5 over 6x. Why do I change them to positive? Because a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. So it's positive 5, 6. And at the very end, I have the b value of 9 over negative 6. I want to rewrite that as a minus sign, and I want to cancel by 3. Cancel by 3, and I'll have a 2. So it's really 3 over 2. Or you could say 1.5 or 1.5, but it doesn't really matter. What? So I have this equation now in slope-intercept form. Now, what they told us is that they want us to write our equation that passes through this point and is perpendicular to this guy, which is really this guy. So I could actually get my slope by looking at this guy and finding the opposite reciprocal slope of what I see right here. So what is the opposite reciprocal slope? Negative 6/5. So a negative 6 over 5 is going to be my slope, right? So what do we have now? We have the negative 6/5 slope that I want. As a matter of fact, none of this over here matters anymore because I already got what I needed. I got my slope and I got it from this one. It's the opposite reciprocal of 5, 6. That's how we got negative 6/5. So now that I have my slope, I don't even need any of this stuff anymore. I could just scratch it out if I want. But I am going to go back and use the point and this slope to write it in point slope form. Okay? So once again, you guys don't have to copy this over again. Once you know it, you don't need to do it over again like that. I'm just showing it for the video. And let me plug in my values. It's going to be y minus y1. What's y1? 5 equals m. What's m? Negative 6/5. Close parenthesis, x minus x1. What's x1? Negative 3. And of course, the minus minus has to change the plus plus. So I have y minus 5 equals negative 6/5 parenthesis x plus 3. Now I need to write it in slope-intercept form and I'm running out of time. I'm going to multiply everything by 5. This by 5, the 5 times 5, and the 6/5 times 5 to get rid of the fraction. I'll have, this is what I get after multiplying everything by 5, and then I'm going to distribute the minus 6. Negative 6 times x, negative 6x. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. I want to bring down everything else. 10 seconds left. Let me move this up. Add 25 to both sides. And my final step would be to divide everything by 5. So my answer is